Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Adam.
Hello.
And Tyr.
What up?
How are both of you doing? Oh, and of course, as it's a Friday, I'm the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are both of you doing tonight?
Hot, sticky.
It's also roasting where you are.
Yes.
How about you, Adam?
I'm feeling frosty and chilly.
That's because you like it hot. You're one of those people that like high temps.
I like hot temperatures too, but it's still fucking hot in here.
Well, he said hot and sticky. I was going with he's Mr. Hot Meaner, I'm Mr. Cold.
Yes, it's the heat miser and cold miser.
From? Was that
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah.
Is it Santa Claus is coming to town?
Or rather, it's the Frostmeister. Sorry. It's the Heatmeister and Frostmeister.
Was it Santa Claus? I don't think it was Santa Claus coming to town. I think it's the year without Santa Claus.
But it was a Santa Claus movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the old
It's one of the old claymations, yeah.
Yeah, the Heat Miser.
Like the Rudolph ones and
yeah, the year without
the Island of Broken Toys.
Yes, it's the year without Santa Claus.
Yep.
And Mr. Freeze. No, it's not. It's
the Frostmeister. It's the Heat Miser and Frostmeister.
Heat Miser and Snow Miser. That's what it is. Snow Miser.
Snow Miser? I thought it was Frostmeister. Because it's one of the lines is
I'm Mr. Snow.
Yeah. And then one of them is I'm Mr. Frostmeister, I'm Mr. Snow. I'm Mr. I can't remember. I'm Mr. 10 Below.
Yeah. And then they cheat and they go to Mother Nature. She makes them do it fucking anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Hold on. Is that the one where there's the the Mother Nature, and then there's the guy who talks to the animals, and okay. You know what? Yo, Sanguine, it's your show. I don't want to take us into a Rankin Bass.
I'm perfectly
Rankin Bass is
going
fucking
on
awesome.
Rankin Bass.
Dude,
if you want to go into when there's a whip,
there's a way. Where there's a whip. We don't want to go to war today because the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. Yeah.
And they have the weird, like, two back of the throat things.
Yep.
Yeah. I think my favorite introduction of Glamdring and Orcris happens in the Rankin Bass Hobbit.
Yep.
When he goes, I know that sword. It's Glamdring, the foe hammer. And he gets hit by it, and he does that whole fucking spin thing that it represents death.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wrong chat.
Oh man, I love that one.
That just made me remember the absolute. So it started out decent, but then the abortion that was the Hobbit trilogy. The part that pisses me off the most about the Hobbit trilogy. A lot of people got pissed off at the first one when it included the songs. Fuck you.
Oh, down in Goblin Town.
Yeah, the songs stay in. They should have stayed in throughout the entire fucking Hobbit.
They should have
just in the first one. Bullshit. Songs are throughout the Hobbit.
Yeah. When they do the song, the goblins are singing down in Goblin Town in the goddamn books. That's one of their stories. And then the fucking 15 birds. Why didn't they do fucking 15 birds? They should have did 15 birds.
Well, wait a couple years and you'll get it in the extended version because they had to cut it out due to timing.
I mean, if you're gonna have him tossing down the goddamn pine cones and fighting the white orc, they should have did 15 birds. Like that is a literal poem from the book.
Yep. And the thing that drove me crazy about the Hobbit series was that they took every fucking thing from Bjorn and they stuck it on motherfucking Legolas.
Oh, fucking yes! They shoehorned him in. They fucking shoehorned him in.
They shoehorned him in, and like I said, they ripped away everything that was a badass moment from Bjorn. All you got,
fucking there.
Yeah, all you got was the cottage scene of Bjorn, and then at the very end you see Bjorn get dropped by a fucking eagle. That is all he is in the movies. But
yeah, he gets fucked over.
In the actual book, when Thorin goes down, Bjorn goes into a rage.
And he goes full werebear.
And he's the one that slaughters all of the Goblin King and his bodyguard without mercy. It's amazing.
Technically, go ahead.
You would think it would be an easy callback to when, the scene of Sauron just wiping people away with his mace.
Yep.
You'd think it'd be an easy callback to that and just have Bjorn fucking just slashing his way.
And that would have been the amazing thing, that in the Lord of the Rings, you have that scene of the mace, and oh good God, that's an amazing scene. The fight between Theoden, the Witch King, and then the daughter and the Hobbit, and everyone going mano a mano with the Witch King. The only part that I'm saying should not have been in the Witch King fight is Gandalf should not have tried to go mano a mano with the Witch King.
Nope. Because
it's bullshit that Gandalf was knocked away by the Witch King. Gandalf is a fucking angel, effectively. He's not getting fucked over by the Witch King of Angmar. The Witch King would be made his little butt bitch.
Yeah, the Witch... He'd have ate the Witch King up. Shit, the hand of... Was it the hand? I can't remember if it was the hand or the mouth. Yeah, the mouth was terrified of fucking him. With him. And he's the mouth of Sauron.
Because the thing is that Gandalf, he wasn't as strong, but he was the same sort of being as Sauron. Which Sauron fucking made them. So, yeah, you'd be fucking terrified of him. That one was able to make us. What if this one can unmake us? Fuck this shit. We're out.
Fuck this. We're going home.
Yeah. It makes absolute sense for them to be fucking terrified. Because, again, he was the same sort of being. But the entire scene with that fight against the Witch King, yes. Fuck yes. But they could have done a very... it would have been pleasant and amazing at the same time if they had just completely reversed that with Bjorn, because that's effectively what Bjorn showing up in that fight was. Because Bjorn was just watching the fight right up until he saw Thorin go down, and then he got pissed. And he, in the books, tore his way through the entire Goblin army to the Goblin King and his bodyguards.
I don't like what they did with...
destroyed them.
I dislike what they did. Like, they made essentially the elves and humans a lie when originally kill the man, kill the elf, take the gold for ourselves.
Yep.
Like, it was a battle of 5 armies because all 5 armies, at first, the 3 armies that were fighting, were all against each other. They were going to kill them.
Yep.
Like, kill the dwarves, and then we'll kill the elves. And then the goblins came. They're like, you know what? Bigger threat.
Man, fuck those little bastards.
Yo, you know what? We kind of friends now because there's a larger threat there.
All my homies hate goblins.
And it took the goblins coming, you know, because it'd have been fucking bloody.
Yeah.
I will say though that it was fun. I mean, books and movie aside, I will say the movie depiction of the fight between the dwarves and elves was pretty fun to watch.
It was fun. And I do really like, there's one thing that the movie did right, which was they didn't try to make all the elves as good as the main party of dwarves. Because no, the main party of dwarves were heroes. They weren't Joe Schmo from Idaho. They were the motherfucking heroes. And I don't mean heroes just of the narrative. I mean each and every one of them was effectively, yes, this is Dwarven War Hero.
I mean, at the core, weren't they born of the Warrock? You know? So I mean, this is kind of
every single one of the dwarves that was in that fight was, even the old ones, they were old war heroes. So having it be that, yeah, one of them versus damn near any one of anyone else
would have been a slaughter.
It's completely one-sided. Fuck you. Because that's who those characters were. Those characters were, I will go into a 1v10 fight, and it is lopsided, add more.
Did I hear a rockin' stone? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sorry. I just like what Peter Jackson did though. He killed Smaug in the beginning of the third movie, which he should have killed him in the end of the second.
Or end of the second, yeah.
It, like, again, the way you hear it is like he took the tension out of it, because if he would kill in the second one, it'd be like catharsis, and then have the third movie start with the battle. You know, hey, shit, you all let's go. We killed the motherfucker.
Oh no! What it should have been is Smaug should have died at the end of the second. Then about half to 3/4 of the third movie should have been the building tension.
Yeah.
Where it was just everyone except for the goblins and of course the eagles showing up and going, "Where's our money, dwarves? Where's our money?
Where's our cut of the gold?"
Yeah, we fucking helped you. And the dwarves going, "First off, motherfuckers, you knife ears, fuck you. You left us alone. You humans, you also didn't really help out, but you're also the youngest of us. But
so fuck off.
Makes you think that you deserve our gold. We did this with 12 motherfuckers. Fuck you." It should have been that escalating tension where each of them is trying to get what they want, and it's more and more and more seeming like war is unavoidable, which it is. And then you have the battle of 3 armies start up, and you have a decent chunk of time where it's a battle of 3 armies, and you see each of the 3 armies actually fucking with each other. Not just because you did see the dwarves versus elves, which that was a fun battle to watch. It wasn't a realistic battle to watch. It was a fun battle to watch.
Because
you didn't like the twirly whirlies.
Well, because the dwarves wouldn't have had shit like that.
No. If anyone had shit like that, it would have been the dwarves. But the problem is that the rest of the series tells us that, yeah, magic exists, but physics is still a thing. The
Oh, so
problem
like
is
the
the
goat
twirly
chariots.
whirlies, the moment that you launch those, physics breaks.
But it's these
I
dwarves
mean, it
are
looked
sitting there
nice.
singing,
Oh yeah, it was
singing
amazing.
about cleaning plates and shit and tossing things around like fucking every one of them was
But that was
Captain
coordination. That wasn't
That's
magic
dwarf
or
magic.
physics. That was coordination. They were coordinated with that shit.
Look,
Dwarven drilling. But yeah, the
dwarves know what they're doing.
problem that I had with like I said, it was an amazing visual. They launched the massive fucking ballista bolts with chains spinning around them to take out an entire arrow storm. But there's one major problem with that, and it's physics. Because do you know how ice skaters and dancers speed up and slow down their turn?
How?
They extend their arms.
Okay.
So when you're spinning, the closer everything is to the center of gravity, to the center, or rather not center of gravity, but the center of rotation, the faster you spin. The moment that you extend out from the center of rotation, the slower everything goes.
Okay,
so
but
if you're
what's to
watching,
say?
go ahead.
No.
So
is your
if you're watching ice skaters, when they open up their arms, they spin a hell of a lot slower, and then they'll tuck their arms, and it'll suddenly be, and then they open their arms, and they're slow again. And with the anti-arrow storm ballista bolts, that broke physics, because there was no, the ballista bolt launched and it was spinning and then the chains went out and it slowed down, but it was still spinning. No, it was ballista bolt launches, wall spinning, chains launch out. Chains are just whipping shit the entire fucking way. Take out the arrow storm. That defies physics.
well,
What they could have done better.
What if it was that the intention wasn't to launch it to a further degree, but it was to just a short term. It opens up, starts shoot, and again, this is ridiculous. We're talking about twirly whirlies.
Oh yeah, the twirly whirly. They are insane, but they're also really fun. So I kind of want to make an argument for them. Yeah.
Well,
that's
again,
what I mean.
A better Tessuto would have just taken you. If they'd did a proper Tessuto, they'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Like you could have got around that.
They jumped over them.
No. When they were all right. So again, this is from my understanding of ancient battles. In an ancient battle, you would launch your arrow first because you don't want to hit your men.
Yep.
And then you would send, after like the first wave of arrows, or when your archers were finished firing, you'd send in your troops. Again, if they were on the defensive end, if they didn't have ranged weaponry, a proper Tessuto should have protected them. And given how they were fighting on like a slight inclination, it should have been fucking easy to do a Tessuto to just angle that shit, and the arrows would have been fucking neutralized.
Yep. But
yeah, especially since they're dwarves, a Testudo formation would have made a little more sense. And I'll get back to because I like the twirly whirlies, but
yeah,
I like the twirly whirlies.
No. But the Testudo makes sense because they are people who dig in mines, so they would have more access towards better
metals.
Yeah, is to be able to have a better shield. Although they say the Elvins were able to craft better weaponry.
Well, the thing is that wait,
and so
just want to do a quick correction of that, because the way that it works was the elves. The reason why their weapons were as ridiculous as elven weapons were was because elves worked magic into their weapons.
Well, not even that. Elven weaponry had a specific function. It was hunting and killing evil. Dwarves didn't fucking do nothing like that. They just fought. Their weapons was designed for everybody.
I'm not.
Their shit was magical. The dwarves, it was no. Our shit's almost as good as that magic bullshit that you worked. Ours is just craftsmanship. Fuck you.
And I totally understand it, but I also equate it to what we have in real life, where the shield can only sustain so much. So even though the Scudum idea is a good idea, is probably the best idea, they'd probably form just a moving tank with spears poking out. But no, yeah. The only thing I like about the Twirly Whirlies is it does seem like a decent defense against a lot of arrows, of which I think if the elves are, that's what they're looking at. They're going to be able to fire off as many arrows as they can. Along with the Twirly Whirlies, I would have shot them out.
No, you know what I'd done? No, what if I were leading the elven army, I'd have went around them and attacked their Twirly Whirlies, but before I shot. Like there would be no fucking way you don't notice large fucking machines moving.
No,
and they
you don't have to deal with the Twirly Whirlies at all. That's one of the things. So the Twirly Whirlies, if they were possible with physics, then what you would do is, the first arrow storm that you launch, the Twirly Whirlies would take out that arrow storm. Do you know what you do immediately after that?
Launch another one?
No. You order just complete free fire among your men.
Oh, fuck.
Rather than doing drilled fire, which is...
alternating fire.
Rather than it's everyone at the same time, knock, draw, launch, knock, draw, launch. So that you get these waves of arrows, which is what an arrow storm typically is. You would have all the archers knock, draw, launch at the same time, so it's just a wall of fucking arrows slamming into the enemy. If your enemy had Twirly Whirlies, what you would do is everyone free fire. No one's doing the knock, drill, or knock, draw, launch. It is suddenly, whenever your bow doesn't have an arrow knocked, knock one. And the moment that an arrow is knocked, you let go. That's how you deal with that.
No, I'd attack the Twirly Whirlies directly. I'd have broke off at least some of my forces to attack from behind.
But the thing is that you don't need to do that.
Maybe I could capture the Twirly Whirlies and I can use them against them.
The moment that you aren't doing mass volleys, Twirly Whirlies don't do shit.
But you still gotta remember, they're firing a large ballista, and most of that, it was still decimating my line. It was still destroying their line. So it was still a threat that would have to be neutralized. Even if I'm not, they decide to free fire their Twirly Whirlies, it still is gonna hit my line.
All you do is you do what was done constantly when it was a army dealing with artillery of some sort.
Loose formations?
Ballistas, loose formation. You do loose formation, everyone firing at will.
All right, but you gotta remember saying you gotta analyze that battlefield. That battlefield, there was not a lot of space to maneuver. You got to remember they were fighting in a slight canyon with a slight incline that the dwarves had.
Yeah, but you have preternaturally graceful elves.
And that's why you go around them and you fucking take out the Twirly Whirlies directly and fire on them.
You just go nimbly bimbly loose formations.
Nimbly bimbly loose formations.
Well, I mean, that kind of didn't work with them because they tried to help out that city, right?
Shit, I'd have fucking used that city as a battlefield. I can't see. The problem is if you can't beat an army with size, you gotta beat it with intelligence. That city would become beautiful battlefield that I'd have control over. Because if I'm in the building firing you from cover position, as you march your forces through, you have to fight to get to me.
Oh yeah,
That's
what it would
siege.
be is you knock down walls throughout the city so that you're blocking entire roads.
Yep, and force them into a constricted road, a kill
And
box.
all your men are on rooftops, and all the rooftops are joined by just boards. So you have these board bridges between the rooftops. You have these choke points throughout the city. You have your archers shooting down on them the entire fucking time. It's a nightmare attacking a well.
It's called a kill
Fighting
box.
medieval style.
Yep.
It's called the kill box. It forces them into a position where your archers can fire at will. It's like old castles had narrow entrances and they had arrow slits.
Well,
where you could.
The example that I was going to give is the city that actually broke Cromwell's army. So, you guys familiar with who Cromwell was?
No.
Cromwell was.
Didn't he have a cereal?
No. So,
Yeah.
Cromwell.
That was a horrible. That was a bomb. Sorry.
Cromwell was a English Protestant general.
Okay.
That he was part of the parliamentarian forces that came and just started absolutely fucking with Ireland. And Cromwell is widely hated in Ireland for this because he was putting down Catholics rather viciously. What he got into the habit of doing was he would have several different splits of his artillery, and he would have his artillery knock several holes on different sides of a city wall.
Okay.
So there would be 2 in back, 3 on the side, 4 up front, and then another 2 on the other side.
Okay.
So that his force could just stream in, and if there was too much resistance in one gap, well, there's
move to another.
12 other gaps that we've knocked in their walls. Fuck them, go to one of the other gaps. There was a city that finally ended up breaking Cromwell's army as he was doing this, because the city was surrounded on 3 sides by swamp.
Oh fuck! So you had to force them through this one entrance.
You had one frontage that you could really go through, because your artillery pieces could not get within range without sinking into the swamp. So
his strategy was broken by the swamp.
That messed with his strategy. He couldn't do a bunch of different breaches on all sides. But that wasn't even the worst part, because he was still able to punch multiple holes in the front. And he was planning on doing the same thing, only rather than being able to do it completely around the city, it would be on one front. If you get stuck at one breach, knock another breach, go through that breach. What the Irish did, though, was they knocked down all the buildings just inside the wall. And they used the buildings that they knocked down to construct a second, smaller wall.
Oh, fuck.
That was hidden by the first wall. And then they went even more fucked up, because when they noticed where the wall was being taken out, they joined this second, shorter wall to the front wall around where the breach was.
Wow.
So, when Cromwell's forces went charging into the breach, thinking that they would go into the city, they found themselves in a triangle with a bunch of angry Irishmen on the walls, shooting down at them.
See, So essentially, he was a one-trick pony.
Well, in that case, he got fucked over because his men just got slaughtered. Since he never got word back that this was what was being done, as far as he knew, it was just, well, that breach stalled out, knock another breach, go.
He sounded like a one-trick pony. He sounded like he relied heavily on one strategy instead of, diversifying his repertoire.
He wasn't quite a one-trick pony. He had other strategies, but it was that he would move to other strategies when it became obvious that the strategy that he preferred was not viable.
Makes sense.
And because he didn't get the "this isn't working" word back, holy shit, they have secondary walls, never came back to him. He just looked at it like, okay, when one breach stalls out, go to another breach. Never getting word back that, oh, they built walls behind this wall. So when we breach, there's a wall behind the wall that they just then start murdering us from.
Oh my goodness. What is Alicia?
Yeah, it was a absolutely
Hey, Kefki, I'm sorry, I
bit
didn't see you.
of military history and planning where it is, oh good God, that is fucked.
The good thing about technology and today's youths is Minecraft. So they'll be able to build walls around walls and then build walls around those walls.
Well, that's not always a viable strategy.
Go the old Julius Caesar double encirclement.
Hey,
well,
if it
not
worked for
even that.
Caesar,
And name that. All right. So say you the problem with multiple walls is that you're trapped inside. You always want to have an escape route. Shit goes tits up all the time. So you want to have a means of escaping. If you have multiple walls, then you have to remember to make an exit point, because if you get trapped inside, especially during the siege, you're fucked.
One of my favorite things that is sometimes done in fantasy series, it's something that wasn't really viable outside of fantasy, but in fantasy, it should be a common fucking thing, is the idea of concentric walls that are joined, but they're joined in such a way that you can move from a inner wall to an outer wall very easily. But moving from an outer wall to an inner wall is entirely governed by the people manning the inner wall.
well,
Shit ton of walls.
So you have, let's say, 3 concentric walls where each interior wall is taller than the wall before it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a drawbridge that joins the 2 walls.
Wow.
Like I said, it's one of my favorite things when it happens in fantasy, and it's only really viable in fantasy, but it isn't done in fantasy anywhere near as much as it should be. Because that is the way that you would want to defend that shit.
I would try the old tried and true method of the kill box. I'd open my gates and say, "All right, come the fuck in."
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna make you bleed for every square inch. Like you gonna enter, but ain't a lot you gonna leave. And I got the advantage. And I know my city better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah. I mean, definitely.
Like, that's another advantage I rarely see pressed in fantasy battles is you knowing your city better than your enemy does, and setting up choke points and trapping them in obvious areas where it nullifies their advantages. Like, why aren't like more streets cobblestone? It would instantly nullify horses' advantage. Like you couldn't move in with cavalry.
Mm-hmm.
Like your cavalry is fucked if they try to run on cobblestone streets. It would trip the horses.
Unless they have the proper type of shoeing.
Yeah, but true.
But if you want that sort of thing in a fantasy series, have you ever read the Black Magician series?
Nope, but thanks to you, I'm probably going to look it up.
So in the Black Magician series, at one point, there's an enemy force, let's say, that is attacking a city. And there's a series of thief gangs that have kind of formed up into almost a thieves guild. And they realize that if the enemy wins and conquers the nation that they're in, they're fucked. So they start guerrilla operations throughout the city.
Okay.
Using all of the thieves' hideouts and different paths that they have running throughout the whole of the city. And it's high magic setting, so there's wizards and shit like that.
Okay.
And the wizards are extremely arrogant because, well, wizards can use shields. And those shields are amazingly strong. So what can a bunch of people that don't have the ability to use shields do to them? And then the Thieves Guild explode a wizard.
Damn.
And suddenly every wizard that witnesses this goes, oh shit. And they realize that they're in danger.
Have you ever played the game Saga Frontier 2?
I don't believe I have.
It is by
I've
far
heard of that.
It's by far one of my favorite games of all time. And in it, the magic system of that universe is, or that world is, everything can use magic. Well, magic is like if you can use magic, you can use weapons made of bone or weapons made of wood, and it would be just as effective as a steel weapon. However, in order to use steel, you can't use magic. It instantly nullifies all magic. And there's the main character in that one of the main characters in that story. He can't use magic at all. Like he is incapable of using any kind of magic. But he is a fucking beast because he can use steel weaponry, and it instantly nullifies every mage against him. And most people can use magic, and he says "fuck you" and cuts people down. So I like that concept. Like there is magic. Like okay, you're a wizard. It's all good. All right, that's fine. Steel, you're dust. And like he retakes his homeland and creates an entire legion of people that can't use magic, encases them in steel, like become his steel legion, and he literally decimates the continent because nobody can fucking fuck with him in the steel legion because everybody can use magic.
That's kind of like there's one of my favorite just thoughts for a potential story. I'll share this because I am not a writer. So if anyone wants to steal this idea and run with it, fucking do it. Just let me know. And if you want to
good,
give me
I'll probably
credit,
take
that
it.
would be amazing.
And give me the monies.
So the premise is everything that goes bump in the night from myth and legend is real. That's been done a lot. But the part that is different in the way that I would have it set is think of all the ways that you deal with things that go bump in the night according to myth and legend. So what's the weakness of the Fae?
Wrought iron, pig iron, or cold iron and salt.
Iron is the main one.
Yeah.
What are nails made out of?
Iron.
What's one of the major ways that you deal with witches?
Water.
Running water, right?
Yes.
With a duck.
So, what would you call a city's plumbing system?
Running water. Huh.
What's one of the most common metals that's worn as jewelry?
Oh, iron, gold,
Copper.
and iron.
So one of the most common metals to wear as jewelry, silver.
So werewolves are
Silver.
fucked.
What if everything that we've just come to think of as completely normal was originally done in order to drive away things that go bump in the night? What if that's the reason why every time that you hear of some hellish creature, it is always far away from civilization?
Because they can't get in.
Because
Hold on, are
we've
you telling me
designed
that-
everything to be safe from creatures that have powers. We have threshold upon threshold upon threshold upon threshold that gets rid of vampires. We have silver everywhere. That makes it difficult for werewolves. We have iron everywhere. There goes the Fae, and in many cases, magic is also something that is dampened by iron. We have running water throughout the entire city. And not just throughout the entire city. We have running water within our very walls.
In our homes.
There goes magic.
Wait, it's an increase in these metals all over the place that's acting as a buffer?
So the premise would be that everything that goes bump in the night is real. It all exists. But humanity figured out how to deal with them so long ago and so effectively that we've driven them out of our major areas of habitation. But we've forgotten. Do you guys know that there's a company now that says that they could make nails that are almost as strong as steel nails out of wood? And
possible.
it has a much lower carbon footprint.
It's theoretically possible.
It's very easy. All you do is you have to impregnate the wood with certain materials in a
Oh my
vacuum
God,
sealing
Sanguine.
process.
Sanguine, you're talking about turning a poor piece of wood into a single mother?
Talking about slutting out the wood to various elements, yes. So
Jesus Christ, Sanguine.
you get
Family
the wood,
show.
you impregnate it with certain materials, and it is able to be exceptionally strong.
Okay.
And one of the advantages of it is wood is a carbon capture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, you don't need as much you don't need any mining for that, really. And also, you don't need to smelt the metal, so that gets rid of a lot of carbon. So what would happen if everything that goes bump in the night is real? We've designed our cities, designed our homes, designed everything around us as a means of keeping ourselves safe, but we've forgotten. And then we start coming up with new ways of building things, ways that reduce the iron, ways
You
that
open
reduce
doors.
everything that was a barrier. What would happen?
A lot of pissed ancient creatures are gonna come knocking down cities.
That's the fantasy setting that if I could write, I would hands down write that.
Yes, Babylonian, not Sumerian. This is a big difference.
Because, yeah, we have all these things that throughout human history have been the ways that you deal with supernatural beings. And when you think about each one is present everywhere.
Wait a minute, really quickly. Cannibalistic women, you strippers. Wizards tend to not know how to deal with women.
Nice.
Sweet. Iron and human with big dicks, garlic bread. Time to bone Groot. Cannibalistic, time to bone Groot.
Like I said, think of everything that is a way of dealing with a otherworldly being, and almost all of them are commonplace.
If only. Again, that would be an interesting story to read. That's an interesting premise in itself.
Mm-hmm. And the way that it would be is, or the way that I imagine that story would go is, like I said, it's humanity's starting to change things, and we're starting to move past using some of our older materials in order to use different materials, new materials.
I got a thought.
Go ahead.
I got a thought. So what if this push for reducing carbon emissions and shit is actually some eldritch being trying to make cities less magically resistant?
Yep, that was one of the things that could be an element of it. Where, what if the people that found out that you can make wood just as strong as nails weren't human?
What if Greta Thunberg, and just imagine, what if Greta Thunberg is actually a little fey biatch and trying to weasel her way back into a city? It'd be the perfect way to get inside. We gotta think about the climate.
And then you have just someone who they are from a line of people that happen to remember, or something like that, where they find out through some means that everything that goes bump in the night is real and it's coming for us. Remember the old wars. And it's them trying to deal with that, trying to deal with the things that go bump in the night that everyone else has completely dismissed and completely forgotten.
What is it? Know what the masquerade is?
Yep.
So using that premise, what if say we do have vampires here, and again they're I don't have to deal with you the old way by killing you. I'll just get you arrested. Modern problems require modern solutions.
But yeah, just having that be the premise, because like I said, I love modern fantasy. Modern fantasy. Yeah, urban fantasy, modern fantasy, whichever name you want to use for it. It's fantastic. It is a fun idea. One of my favorite series, the Dresden Files, is modern fantasy.
I'm a big Masquerade and Requiem and White Wolf fan. So I love all those concepts of this world exists alongside ours, and we can't see it because there are forces working to prevent us from knowing about it.
So if you like that premise, then if you haven't read it yet, pick up the Dresden Files.
I can't get into Dresden. For some reason, I just can't get into Dresden. I don't know why.
Okay. Have you tried Monster Hunter International?
I haven't tried Monster Hunter International, no.
So, you know how there's the hunters in the World of Darkness? Monster Hunter International, it isn't set in the World of Darkness, but it's set in another mod fantasy where all that shit's real. And all that shit hates us, just like in the World of Darkness.
Well, that's not entirely true. It's not that it all hates us in the World of Darkness. It's all there are good and evil in every splat or faction or whatever you want to call them. There's good and evil, or ambivalent and benevolent on both sides. Better way to say it.
What is this?
Ambivalent
Is
and
this like
malevolent is
a
better way
book
of saying it.
series, or what is
So,
this?
the Monster Hunter International is a book series. The World of Darkness is a tabletop RPG
Yeah.
setting.
Oh,
So,
does it involve painting miniatures or?
No.
well, you
have
can
you
make
ever
miniatures, but you don't have to.
Have you ever played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines? Or Bloodlines 2?
No.
So those are old video games that are a lot of fun. They're set in the World of Darkness. And in the World of Darkness, the way that it works out, Adam, is vampires are real. Werewolves are real. Changelings are real. There's a group of beings known as Prometheans. They are
I fucking love the Prometheans. Tragic.
things that aren't human but are human-esque. And they're made.
Human adjacent is better.
Yeah.
Human adjacent.
Oh. So is it like a third
Mages.
faction or?
Yeah, so mages exist as well. Each of these is their own faction. Each of those factions is duking it out with other factions, as well as they have threats that they're each dealing with that pretty much only they or a handful of others know that they're dealing with them. So, for instance, in Werewolf, you have the werewolves are going against what they know as the Fomorians.
Or the pure.
Stealing the name from the Irish mythology, Fomorians, the giant evil beings that were nigh godlike in Irish mythology. So the werewolves are constantly duking it out with the worm, which is this.
Oh, you're talking about
the werewolf.
Old World, yeah.
Yep.
So there in werewolf mythology, in their study, there are three beings of great power: the worm, the wild, and the weaver.
Yep.
The wild creates life, the weaver orders life, and the worm destroys life. Well, the weaver.
The wild is creation untamed.
Yes.
The weaver is order and identification. So,
and the worm is destruction and death, essentially.
Yep. And
So
they were meant to be in balance.
Yeah.
So that the wild would create things, the weaver would name things, and come up with how those things work and where they fit in. And then when those things should die, the worm would take them.
However, the weaver went mad and decided to imprison the worm, which drove the worm mad.
There's several different ways that it is told, because one of them is the weaver goes mad first.
Yeah.
And then it drives the worm mad. One of them is the worm goes mad first. The weaver tries to stop the destruction as well as trying to organize the creation. And the effort of stopping the mad destruction as well as trying to catalog the uncatalogable drove the weaver mad.
Yeah. And like the wild is trying to keep everybody from going tits up.
Well, the wild is the one that has the weakest sense of self. So the wild is pure potential and creation. So the wild is the hardest to categorize and it's the hardest to personify. And there's questions on if the wild really has personified, because it's every presentation of what might be the wild's personality is different than every other presentation of what might be the wild's personality.
Yeah.
Because the wild defies being cataloged. That's really the only consistent element of the wild. It defies being cataloged. So you have those three beings. Then after the worm went crazy, the worm started to taint different beings, and a sufficiently tainted being would become a Fomorian. So the worm would empower them with almost obscene powers.
Or you got my favorite tribe, the Dark Spiral Dancers.
Yeah, who were the white scars that then ended up being tainted because they, through their own hubris, they thought that they could fight the worm one-on-one.
And the worm decimated them and then warped them.
Well, the worm didn't really decimate them. The worm destroyed them and spat out a twisted remnant.
Wasn't they originally the Irish ones too? Like that was the main tribe of the Irish.
Those were the Scots.
Yeah, they were Scots. My bad.
Yeah, the Irish one are the Fianna.
Yeah, there it is. I get those two mixed up.
And the Fianna are my favorites of them. Because the Fianna, when you're reading old school werewolf lore, so every one of the different tribes of werewolves has different things that they do. And functionally, the best way of expressing what the Fianna do is every single thing that the werewolves do, the Fianna did first.
Or so they claim.
And
Is it like a set rule or?
Yeah,
it's functionally throughout their history. So there's a bunch of different items that the werewolves can make. And almost every single first of any specific type of item, it was a Fianna that
or
made it.
so they claim.
So there's the glaives, which are these ridiculously powerful werewolf weapons. And the first glaive was made by a Fianna that contracted with one of the spirits to empower a weapon so that it could kill something of the worm.
Again, I repeat my previous statement, or so they claim. I'm going to say that because he's clearly a Fianna apologist.
Well,
or,
you're claiming
supremacist.
that, but at the same time, do you remember that technically one of the totem spirits that you can get is an avatar of Gaia?
Shush it.
Do you know which tribe that particular totem spirit fucking loves?
I forget. My bad. My memory slips.
I'll help you out. So the Gaia
Nope.
is the creating spirit in the werewolf mythology, and Gaia, of course, is Earth, the Earth goddess in
I can't remember.
Greek mythology. So there's a avatar of Gaia in the setting that is a totem spirit. Like I said, the Fianna are the Irish werewolves, by the way. Also, they fight the Fomorians. I wonder who decided to name them the Fomorians.
I can't remember.
And then there's the avatar of Gaia that is a totem spirit, which is Erda. And Erda is a Celtic goddess. Celtic goddess. The Celtic goddess of the earth. The Irish Celtic goddess of the earth. And yeah, the Fianna are the ones that get Erda as one of their primary totem spirits. Because even Gaia loves the Fianna.
He is a Fianna apologist. It's okay. It's understandable. It's it's his favorite tribe. It's all right. It's all right.
They aren't hipsters cannibalistic, because if they were hipsters, then they would be saying, well, we did it first and then we stopped when everyone else started. No, the Fianna continue doing shit. And they're just very happy to tell you the story.
Again, it's so they claim, you know.
It's strange that so much of the werewolf society is using very Irish names, if they aren't being honest.
Or so they claim.
kinda
Again,
weird,
I'm gonna throw that out there, just so they claim.
But yeah, so every one of the factions within the World of Darkness is fighting something. And
Oh yes, McClellan. And you say you come from Mexico. Oh, okay.
again, my
the St.
my
Patty's
favorites.
Brigade was a thing.
Mine's at the Glasswalkers forever and to the end.
The Glasswalkers are the ones that are saying that everything needs to change. And the thing that I find hilarious is, despite the Fianna being the ones that, by tradition, have done everything first, they're always also one of the ones going, yeah, we need to adapt. Which is part of the reason why they're always doing shit first, is, yeah, we need to adapt. So, the Glasswalkers have a begrudging respect for the Fianna. And that was also... That's one of the things, if you read the books for each of them, and you read their views on the other groups, the Fianna always have the least negative, with the exception of the 3 native tribes. The 3 native tribes hate the Fianna because the Fianna were extremely effective. But the other tribes, it's always like, well, we get annoyed with them because of XYZ, but they're pretty good. Whereas every other tribe has at least one group that they're going, man, fuck these people. No one has the, man, fuck the Fianna. It's always, they're kind of annoying sometimes, but we like them, but they're annoying. It's like that brother.
It's like that one guy you know you like, but you really don't like him, but you kind of do. You wouldn't admit to it.
Yeah, it's the brother that you're going, fuck, why are we related? But at the same time, anyone says any shit about that brother and you're ready to throw hands.
Again, Glasswalkers. And if we're doing Vampire Masquerade clans, I'm always going to be a Truja. It's not a matter of when Illis is coming back to kill Troil. It's a matter of when.
See, one of my favorites for vampires is the ugliest fucking group, the Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Oh, come on.
They're fun.
Nosferatu are fun, but Trujas with their stunts. I played one in a LARP, and I played him literally. He showed very little emotion, and he didn't let people know he was a Truja. And whenever like shit happened, he can't, because you know they can't use celerity because it's a bastardization of Temporis, and they refuse to touch it. So my guy would literally stop time for the time he needed to. He would kill a motherfucker and then go back and say he didn't do a damn thing. Time stops.
But yeah, the Nosferatu, they're fun because they are also one of the most terrifying groups to go against. They're the most
together.
They're the most obvious. They stick together, and also when it comes to combat ability, oh good god, they're frightening.
All right, so one of the great things about Nosferatu, technically, and this is canon, that even Nosferatu of the Sabbat will parlay with Nosferatu of the Camarilla.
Yep.
Like no other group or faction, no other clan would do that. Not even the fucking Ventru who claim, oh, we're all that shit. They won't parlay with their Ventru brethren. But the Nosferatu will always parlay with fucking Sabbat or Anarch or anything. So they put clan way above Coven.
Yep. And then the other one that's always a hell of a lot of fun, though it keeps on getting changed, is the Malks.
I love playing the Malkavian.
Yeah, they've been changed, 4 times? Because it was the Malkavians, the Malkovians, there were at least 2 other name changes to them.
So they were first the Children of Malv, Then they were the Malkovians, and then they became the Malkavians, and they became the children of Malkavian. Like it's not that necessarily their name changed; it's their progenitor's name.
Well, they almost become entirely different groups between the different editions.
Well,
because
not necessarily. Like their main function is their madness, and as long as they keep like, oh, you get a derangement or you get unescapable penalty depending on what you're playing, and they technically have access to the Malkavian network, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, but the way that their particular ability changes depending on which edition it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because in some of the editions, their madness gives them future sight. In some editions, it doesn't. In some editions, it is a madness that it's like the common cold of madness. Where if a Malk is near you long enough, you start to go mad.
So, all right, this is. I think you'll love this about Requiem. Nosferatu, because you say you're a fan of. They don't necessarily have to be ugly.
They just have to have something about them that's extremely off-putting.
Yeah, so I play again. I played a lot of werewolf. I played a Nosferatu samurai. She was extremely beautiful, but the moment you locked eyes with her, and you felt it like the disquiet of the Prometheans, where being around her just made you want to kill her.
Yep. Yeah, I had a Nosferatu that I played ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a forensic pathologist.
Mm-hmm.
Which they did partially out of interest, partially because they always had the stink of corpses.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a forensic pathologist, you're always able to go, oh yeah, I had a really nasty autopsy earlier. Sorry. It's one of those things. Doesn't matter how many times you shower, it sticks with you for a while.
I think one of my favorite characters was I played again, this is Requiem. I played a Ventru who was I forget the bloodline he was, but he was an alchemist, and he was literally trying to find a cure for vampire. He believed it's a disease that he can cure, and he literally he was a Ordo Dracul, and he experimented on other vampires in an attempt to find the cure.
Mm-hmm.
Got him killed, but it was fucking fun to play him.
Yeah, with the Nosferatu that I played, like I said, pathologist. And do you remember or do you know what the Hunger were?
Yeah.
So one of the first things that happened in that campaign was a group of the Hunger popped up, and they were killing people in the city. So it started to look bad on the rest of the otherworldly groups because people started being suspicious. Why all these strange deaths are happening? And when the party found the Hunger, the party had completely split up because each of the party members was actually part of a different group.
Oh, sweet. I love that. Mage, werewolf.
We didn't know that we were each part of a different group or what group each of us was a part of.
Okay.
So one of us was a werewolf, one of us was a mage, one of us was a hunter, one of us was a Promethean, and then I had my Nosferatu. So we had all split up. One of the, I want to say she was a hunter, got jumped by one of the Hunger, and while she's dealing with the Hunger, my character, who's been skulking around on top of the building, just jumps down because fuck it, I'm a vampire, I can survive this 3-story fall. Hits the ground, immediately starts fist fighting the hunger. She goes running off because she's shit scared of the hunger. Didn't really notice me appear out of nowhere, or more accurately, fall off the top of the building right behind the hunger and just start fighting it. She just saw that my character had shown up, started fighting. And then the hunger started getting worried from fighting my character and was about to try something more drastic or call in reinforcement. So I used Nightmare and I scared the hunger.
God damn.
So it was the human hunter was running away from the hunger that I was fighting. Then the hunger got scared of my character, and the hunger started running away, but the human thought that the hunger was running after her, and thought that my character was chasing the hunger to keep fighting it.
You gotta love that. You got to love signature disciplines.
Yep.
Fucking delirium, fucking chemistry for the Ravnos, Serpentis,
Yep.
Obtenebration, Necromancy for the Giovanni. There was another one. Technically, Presence is a common.
Yeah. It's. I remember Nightmare is the first level of the
Vicissitude. Vicissitude for the Zamisi. I love playing the Zamisi. That was one of my favorite cards to play. And there's another one, Obey for the Sublubary. And again, Temporis, because Temporis is best. Fuck Solarity.
But yeah, that game was a hell of a lot of fun. And then my favorite World of Darkness game that I've been in thus far is a werewolf game that I was in. And hopefully it starts back up at some point. But our characters just became absolutely insane with the shit that they were managing to do.
Really?
Oh yeah, I fist fought a Nexus crawler.
The fuck, man?
Yeah, it was amazing. So, in the campaign, we all started as pups, effectively, that were just being formed into a pack in order to try to keep us safe. My character was a Fianna, and my character personality was functionally, he was raw physical willpower, responsibility, and inhuman strength combined.
Okay.
So, the first big bads that the party were going against were the Technocracy. Because the Technocracy were kidnapping and experimenting on werewolves. They had taken over a cairn, all that good shit.
Okay.
My character, several times throughout the campaign, realized what was happening in the campaign before he should have, just with the information that we received. And every time that happened, one of the other player characters went, "Oh, you're sounding really fucking paranoid now." And then something would happen to prove that my character was right, and my character was just like, "You guys made me the fucking alpha for a reason, god damn it."
Fucking told you guys.
Yeah, the big chapter close for the first leg of the campaign was we stormed the Technocracy held cairn, and they had made it's the T-100's Arnie, T200 was liquid, T1000 was female, right?
I
was
believe
it
no.
1000
T1000 was liquid.
Okay, so is the 2000 was female?
I believe so.
Okay, so the Technocracy had made T1000 werewolves
Okay.
with a moving nucleus that would just move throughout the liquid metal, and they were liquid silver.
Oof.
My Fianna fist fought one and ripped out its nucleus. Actually,
Damn it.
fist fought two of them and ripped out their nucleus.
God
It was-
damn.
Yeah, those were made specifically to deal with my character, because you know how the werewolves get their names throughout the campaign?
Mm-hmm.
The name that my character ended up earning after the second encounter was Arm Taker and Claw Catcher. Because every time he grappled something, and when he went to grapple something, it was grappled. But every time he grappled something, he would rip normally one of the arms off whatever he grappled by accident. I did this with several of their scan bots, which are the Technocracy robots that just fuck shit up. At one point, he ripped off the chain gun that they had loaded with silver ammo and beat another one to death with it. But, yeah. So, my character, ridiculous grappler. DM decided that he would make something as a particular challenge, so he made the T1000s to square off against my character. Because during that end of that section of the campaign, that end of the chapter of the campaign's main fight, we're going through the building, and my character decided that right before the fight, he would make a bunch of Braemar stones. Do you know what a Braemar stone is?
No.
Scottish shot puts.
Oh, fucking hell.
Only he's a werewolf. A really,
they had to be
really
huge.
strong werewolf. He made 35-pound Braemars.
Sanguine. Why is your werewolf a madman?
He threw them like they were cannonballs. The first fight that they got in the closing of the chapter, there was one of the scan bots turned a corner and its head immediately shattered as a Braemar just ripped through it.
Oh.
Yeah, in order to do aggravated damage. So, in that game, you have bashing, lethal, and aggravated damage. And those damage types can be upgraded depending on how much damage has been dealt to the target. The way it works is that bashing, it is able to heal fairly quickly on most things.
So,
But if you do an... Oh, God.
So, werewolves, if I'm not mistaken, heal bashing at a rate of almost all of it. I think their healing factor is almost all of it, like at the end of the day, at the end of a session.
No,
And-
it's faster. So, werewolves heal bashing at, I think it's their vitality every round or two.
Makes sense. And then lethal. If I can do vampire because I know that one. So
Yep.
bashing, they heal that one at night. Like it all goes away.
Yep.
Lethal is healed if you take all your hit points in bashing. It'll instantly transfer over to lethal.
Yep.
Lethal will kill humans can't take aggravated. If they take their whole hit points in lethal, they're fucking dead.
Yep.
But a vampire will heal at vitality down, and then once it gets down to bashing, it'll heal at the end of the night.
Yep.
Aggravated, however, heals at half your vitality each night. So you'll still have fucking aggravated damage 18 days later. And if a vampire takes their full hit points and aggravated, they're fucking dust.
Yep.
Well, most things are dust.
If you have aggravated, the way that it works, or if, with vampires, if I remember correctly, for lethal, you could use blood to heal lethal.
Or blood to lower it. You can either use blood to lower it down to bashing. Yeah, like you can either heal at accelerate or lower it down to bashing.
Yep.
So, but aggravated, they can use blood, but it can only reduce it so far.
Yep. So with the single Braemar stone throw, the number of successes that I got wiped the fucking scan bots. Aggravated. Braemar stones deal bashing. I had something like 30 successes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the way that it works in that game, Adam, is you roll your attack, and then it's versus the opponent's defense every time that you get a success over a match. So if you match successes to their successes, then you successfully hit. If you overmatch by 1, then you successfully hit, and then you do 1 additional round of damage. If you overmatch by 2, then you do 2 additional units of damage for whatever your weapon's damage is. With that, like I said, I got like 30 successes on the damage rolls because I was able to get out of, I want to say it was just shy of 20 dice that I rolled on the attack. I had 18 spill over.
Damn.
And then I rolled the majority of those as successes. So yeah, Scanbot came around the corner and its head exploded. And the DM decided to make these things specifically to deal with my character.
And you fucking nullify them.
Oh, it was hilarious because it was deal with my character. My character sees them, throws a Braemar stone at one of their heads. Its head gloops because it's made out of liquid metal. And then it was well, shit. It runs up, starts trying to claw at my werewolf. My werewolf ends up avoiding most of the damage. And then next round, realizes, wait, there's something moving inside of it. Plunges his hand into it, grabs the nucleus, pulls the nucleus out of the first one, crushes it in front of it, and goes, I know how to kill you now. Goes to grab the second one's nucleus. The moment that his hand wraps around the nucleus, the second one solidifies the silver around my werewolf's hand, which causes damage and weakens my werewolf. Second round, I crush the nucleus.
So did you do it in Kronos form, or did you like stay regular the entire time?
Oh, that was the Keranos.
Oh shit.
But there were several fights that my character stayed as a human the entire time.
I think that's had to be demoralizing. It's fucking demoralizing.
Oh yeah.
I could go all fucking full werewolf on you, but I'm not.
Oh, there was one moment in that campaign where my werewolf went mano a mano with another werewolf That werewolf was in Krynos.
Mm-hmm.
My werewolf stayed Hamid.
Okay.
I wrestled him into submission.
The hell, Sanguine?
Yeah, dude.
With-
What's up with that?
With the pact spirit that my group went for, and my character's base strength,
Mm-hmm.
I was at an extremely strong Krynos' base strength. Because you know how it's the 5 dots for that tier?
Yeah.
I was maxed out 5 dot.
Really?
Our specific totem that we chose gave 4 dots. I was Hamid 9 dot.
God damn.
Hey, functional. How it goes?
Whoa.
What up, Doc?
Just finished what I was doing and just making some coffee.
That was not meant to. There we go.
You making
how
a
you
waffle
I
meal?
haven't played D&D in a long time.
Well, this isn't D&D. This is WAD.
WAD?
World of Darkness.
World of Darkness.
Oh, is this a game?
Yeah.
Like video game?
No.
Well, there are video games, but we were talking about the pen and paper.
Tabletop?
Yeah. Shit. If somebody want to get a game together, I'm down for playing.
But yeah, that game's so much fun.
It is.
I want to go back to it because, like I said, we left off after 3 members of the pack in that particular campaign. We, at the end of the first chapter, successfully retook 1 Cairn from the Technocracy. Then, at the opening of, or before the opening of the second chapter, as kind of a backstory of what our characters had done, because another Cairn had fallen in the previous story, our characters had helped take that Cairn again.
Okay.
And because we had been so ridiculous, we had been named the ones that were in charge of that cairn. Start of the new campaign, we retake a 3rd cairn
God damn.
with 3 of us. Then 4 of us square off against the remainder of the Black Spiral Dancers that had taken that cairn, and the Nexus Crawler that they summoned.
God damn.
2 rounds, the Nexus Crawler's dead. Or rather, more accurately, 2 rounds, the Nexus Crawler's banished. Because you can't really kill Nexus Crawlers.
Yeah.
And do you want to explain what Nexus Crawlers are to you, or shall I?
You can do it.
So, Nexus Crawler in that campaign is a ridiculously powerful supernatural force that it is more accurate to describe them as natural disasters than anything else.
Eldritch Abomination would be perfect.
True, that works as well, especially since they warp reality around themselves. Including things like when my character threw one of his Braemar stones at it, the Braemar stone exploded into flowers.
I bet your fucking GM was happy about that shit.
Well, I had 9 of them.
Oh, well, I guess he wasn't happy.
My character can carve them quickly.
Motherfucker, I got 100 more. Let's do this.
But then I got into fistfight range, and I was fistfighting it. Another one of the party members was effectively hexing it. And he rolled ridiculously on his hex, so he was subtracting 12 from every one of its dice pools. While I was fistfighting it, just with bare claws. And then a third party member jumped in with a clave that we had just recovered. And then the coup de grace was done with a weapon that we stole from the mages that we found out that if we pump it with Gnosis, it works. So we called it the Gnosis Cannon. It was a very strange battle. But yeah, like I said, it reached that point at the start of the second chapter, and the GM just went, I'm confused by what the fuck I can do with these characters. Good God, you're monsters.
What he should have done was like, you know what? Fuck this.
It was glorious. What he's decided since is that when that campaign restarts, it's going to be a bunch of people trying to undermine us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be... We'll have things that we can deal with in very straightforward approaches sometimes, but a good chunk of it's going to be them fucking with us in ways that we can't just punch them in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's realized that challenging us physically, almost impossible.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, World of Darkness, hell of a lot of fun. Though,
It
like
is.
I said, with modern fantasy, if you like that type of setting, you should give the Monster Hunter International a go.
Mm-hmm.
Because think of it kind of like World of Darkness, and then you're following an organized group of hunters that
I'm
get
hearing
paid to
feedback.
be hunters. Hearing
I'm
feedback
hearing-
from whom?
I don't know.
Did your tab accidentally start playing volume again?
Oh,
Because I'm not hearing feedback on my end.
No, it's. I was hearing feedback at some point. Maybe it's gone now.
Okay.
I didn't hear any feedback.
But yeah, Monster Hunter International, hell of a lot of fun. Humans hunting demons and various monsters. And it's written by a guy who really fucking knows his guns, so he has fun with it.
It's always good to know. I think it's
It's always good to kill demons and monsters. Fuck
Yeah,
those
the
guys.
author of
yeah,
Monster
rip and
Hunter,
tear.
the author of Monster Hunter International is a certified firearm instructor,
sweet.
and he likes geeking out about guns. The
Nope,
author
I
of
don't
that
ha-
one is...
I do have that. I do have that series.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the author of that one's Larry Correa.
Let me make sure.
Heard that.
Yep, Larry Correa.
Yep.
I do have that series. I need to dig into it. I have a site I go to called Oceans of PDFs, and you know, I acquire things.
Yeah, that one's really
Things that
good.
make us go.
And like I said, if you want another really good series that has humans just fucking up wizards and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
the Black Magician trilogy.
You know,
Just
it does
for the
sound like
moment
they
where
were,
the
like,
Thieves Guild decide, you know what, fuck these wizards.
Fuck your wizards. Sure. Blame the wizards.
Fuck your magical couch.
Fuck your magical couch. They should have never gave you mages money.
You cast Fireball, we cast 3 logs on rope. Fuck you.
You cast fireball, I cast gun.
And another really good one like that is... So there's that, there's the Black Company, which has a bunch of non-magic users going up against magic users.
Wait a minute, I got one more. Expecto Patronus. 9 millimeters.
Yeah, it ends up being a lot of that type of shit. Where it's, oh, shit, you're able to do this? It'd be a real shame if your head was cut off.
That's
And
always going to be the downfall of a magic user in a modern setting, especially if they have to take time to cast magic.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also, I just thought of it, and then it just, the Gentleman Bastards.
You would tell me about that one. I need to see if they have the Gentleman Bastards.
Yeah, the Gentleman Bastards is a really fun one. Have any of you guys heard about it other than Tyr?
Nope.
No, sir.
So the premise of the Gentleman Bastards is the main characters are part of a thieving band, and they get in over their heads massively as they try to get revenge for people fucking with them.
The Lies of Loch Lamore.
Yep. The Lies of Loch Lamore is the first book of the series. But yeah, it's one of those series where it has really good characterization and it plays with things that it sets up ahead of time rather than just pulling shit out of nowhere. Everything is set up, and if you're paying attention, you can realize, oh, they're gonna do this. Also, it has one of the best big friend characters.
Oh man,
I'm still trying to get the taste out of some of these bad movies we watched this week.
Look,
Which ones did you see?
Born of Hope, The Raven, and You Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water.
Someone did an SCP movie?
Fan film, yeah. They did.
Yeah.
It's quite a couple. The undisputed winner of the triple threat match is clearly the Raven.
Mm-hmm.
It was the least bad of them all.
Yeah, with the literally Born of Hope was terrible,
Oh god.
and it's supposed to be the birth of Aragorn.
Yeah. The last days of Arathorn.
Yeah,
Just-
and
Oh, that.
and then the main character of fucking You Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water was completely unlikable. No, not him. The female lead was a bitch.
well, even he was insufferable because he was such a massive bitch too.
He was a simp. He should have left her ass.
No spine, no balls, no brain.
Yep.
Plenty of condoms though.
And he
Apparently.
leaves his keys in the fucking jacket. Like, that's why I keep my keys attached to my belt loop.
Mm-hmm.
I will never leave those motherfuckers. They're there. It just left a bad taste in all our mouths.
Still prefer that over, I don't know, the Acolyte.
Yes, that's still a better production than the Acolyte.
Did I see right? The Acolyte has been canceled.
Nope, not yet.
I thought it was renewed for a second season.
If they double down, if they lose another 180 million on that fucking, you know what? Disney has no.
What do you mean? They've been, I wouldn't say they're losing, but they're not making the money they need to be sustainable, because given the fact that Disney is just like
In the red.
advertising juggernaut, they spend so much on advertising. There's no way they're breaking even on their on Lucasfilm or Marvel at this point.
Again,
I mean,
they're
at this
in the
point,
red.
it'd be silly to think that they are actually trying to produce quality productions to earn viewership and income. I think at this point, yes, it is purely ideology going on.
I mean, what W have they got? Like, they have no W's to their name in the last, I'll be generous and say 5 years.
well, no, I heard what was it? Andor? Was it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
or-
that's 10 years out. That'll be outside the 5-year range.
Well, no,
no.
wasn't that a Star Wars bit that
No,
they
I-
said
I-
that it was pretty decent? I don't know. I didn't see it. So
No,
I
but I
didn't
believe
think
it's
so. A lot
outside the
of
5-year
people did.
range.
But I mean, the big it was 2022, so it's
well,
not
okay.
5 year. The problem is, my problem with it is, or so, no. I'm just gonna sum it up onto like one thing. The greatest compliment that the people who love that show is, it's not. It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't feel like Star Wars, and I'm like, so then it's not a good Star Wars property. It might be
No.
a good show or whatever, but it's not good Star Wars. And that kind of defeats the point in slapping the veneer of an IP on something and saying, well, it's not good for that IP. Well, then it's not good. I mean, you can enjoy the story. I'm not saying you can't enjoy the story or whatever. It's not good. Like the first Avengers movie, Avengers Assemble, not a good movie. You can turn off your brain and be like, hee, Hulk smash, oh, Iron Man, get him, but it wasn't like a good movie.
I'm so glad that the superhero genre is finally going the way of the dodo bird, and
I'm not.
I am. They have
I like them, and
bastardized.
you can still make good ones. They just
I don't need
just
to connect
stop
the
watching
universe.
Disney. I mean, that's
No,
well,
the
okay,
problem
hold
isn't-
on. Did any of you see the new trailer for the Captain America: Brave New World?
no, because it's not Captain America.
Ah, jeez, you racist son of a bitch.
Yeah.
he's the blackface of white supremacy. Don't you know?
I know.
And this is the best way I can sum it up. I like the Falcon when he was the Falcon, and they should have never given him the shield. They should have. And there is already a black Captain America character, U.S. Liberty. Oh no, U.S. Patriot. Sorry. Exact same powers as Steve Rogers, except for it's a black teenager and he's a new Avenger. Like, there you go. Give it to U.S. Patriot. Or give it to Bucky, who should have gotten it any damn way.
Or you just retire the character, or recast the character because
It's a multiverse.
I don't understand why they're so afraid of recasting people. I mean, they got rid of what's his name, Crazy Eddie for fucking
Edward
Don
Norton.
Cheadle.
Oh no, are you talking about Terrence Howard for Don
Howard.
Cheadle, and that
Yeah.
was a massive fucking downgrade.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. I fucking can't stand Don Cheadle.
I can't stand you. Fuck you.
Well, fuck you.
I mean, you can recast these people. It's just
Shit, they should have recast Chadwick Boseman. Like, I get it, his performance was okay. I've not seen the movie. It was okay.
Look,
I didn't
there
like
are
Black Panther to begin with.
There are specific rules in terms of recasting characters. You have
Alright.
to follow a specific timeline and
No, you don't.
what the people want. Yes, because if you want to recast, I think it was King Henry, and he's in a wheelchair and he's gay now, and so let's do that. Or Abraham Lincoln, now he's gay, so it's like let's
no,
change
that's
Jay
not
Lincoln.
recasting. That's entirely.
That's reinventing. But all right, so they've already before Chadwick Boseman died, they had already established the multiverse exists. What they could have done was that you bring back Michael B. Jordan and have that Killmonger from that universe gets trapped in our main universe. And then, technically I'm not evil. I'm with King of Wakanda, because the T'Challa of that nation or that dimension was fucking insane and evil. I'm here now. I already have taken the heart-shaped herb. Let me be king. Okay, you're king now.
That's not recasting either. Recasting is like, so if Robert Downey Jr. did the first Iron Man or the first two Iron Man, and then they needed a new actor for the next movie, then that's a recast. You get a different
Yeah,
actor.
but it's like they recast Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton for Mark Ruffalo, and I fucking hated that casting choice too.
Yeah, I mean, you can recast. It's not a big deal. Like, honestly, don't listen to people, because these movies are made by committee, and that's why they suck. There's the reason why things like the first Avenger, Captain America, the Winter Soldier were such good movies is because the Captain America, the first Avenger, was a period piece starring Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier was a spy thriller starring Captain America. And the people behind it, well, the person behind it who wrote it, had singular vision to create this story. And the same thing happened with Iron Man 1, 2, or 3. And I know a lot of people give flack for 2 and 3, but they were fucking excellent as well. People need to get this shit out of their ass. Well, the heads out of their ass, not their shit. Getting your shit out of your ass is actually good.
Shit's in the ass.
But when you start having to write these things by committee, and what I mean by committee is, so you've got the writer and the director who generally work together to create these products, right? But then you've got like the CEOs at Lucasfilm, at Disney, Marvel Studios, whatever.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, not enough.
Which are at least another 3 to 5 people. And then you've got the like brand manager and the advertising manager, and it's like, oh yeah, but okay, this is really cool, but we need to do something different so we can sell different toys or what, like stuff like that. And so much shit just gets bogged down, and that's why there's a big degradation in what these movies once were. And it's no coincidence that that's what happened as soon as Disney acquired it and had influence. Because they immediately, like you said, Mr. Adam, like they introduced another 20 cooks into the kitchen, and you're like, what the fuck happened to my soup? At least they were nice enough, because the Russos were already in the midst of doing the Avengers Endgame shit. They kind of just let them go. Plus, Avengers Endgame is not a place to be selling toys. Your solo movies is where you sell your toys and your junk. And
I mean, I'm fairly sure that there was a path that they could have taken to be able to release, because I kind of see where they were going with it, and it makes sense, and that's where I can see like where recasting wouldn't work out. But at that point, you're not talking movies, you're talking TV series. Because you're going to be able to pump out storylines quickly using the same actors. You can't do that with movies.
Yeah.
But they tried to do that.
And their biggest problem is they went from basically picking, lower tier stars and giving them everything, like driving a dump truck full of money up to driving up and giving them contract that says, if this does well, you're going to get paid a buttload of money. Chris Evans was more or less not really well known until Captain America. Robert Downey Jr. was going through the whole comeback story thing, so he was low on the totem pole at the time he got cast for Iron Man, and then he got cast for Iron Man, and he went from like B to S tier type actor, like that's what you need to do. You need to get young, fresh faces into this shit to be like, hey, we're going to make these people movie stars that can commit to 15, 20 years of making movies. Look at what they did with, who's the chick that plays Scarlet Witch? The other Olsen.
Scarlett Johansson. Oh, no.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Well, and therein lies the problem, because they didn't lock down a lot of the people for very long. They got Chris Evans for 6 movies, Robert Downey Jr. for 6 movies, and that's all well and good. They go, but like I said, you don't have to kill these characters off or make them disappear. You can just recast them and be like the next story, or like you said, and do multiverse stuff. But I fucking hate the multiverse stuff. I just wish they would give us regular stories. There's always this rush for them, and Marvel did it because they started small and they built up. Right?
Multiverse and time travel always just fucks a story.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes,
well,
because it's never done right.
even though it exists in the comics, it's cheap.
Well, two bits with that is one, multiverse sucks because and the different different casting. The problem with both of them stems in the way that Hollywood and or the movie production studios, the way they goes about it, because for some reason they always, okay, we need to have an origin story, we need to establish a character, and it's like, no, it's an already established character.
We
Just
don't
tell a
need
story.
15 fucking origin stories for Superman. He's so
Or
well
Batman.
And
We know
well,
Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
The perfect
realize-
example, the perfect example that live action film studios could look to is, I would say, the DC animated films that they've been
Mhm.
doing, Justice League,
yeah, they're fucking
Batman stuffs.
DC kicks
like-
ass with the animated shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have been kicking ass with that. And you're not watching the film, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yes, this is Bruce Wayne, and he turned into Batman because he watched his parents get shot in the alley. It's like, we don't need to establish that.
awesome. No, you're
We
seeing
don't need any
seeing
of
Justice League go against Darkseid. You're like,
Yeah, they're already there.
yeah,
And-
it's already like they've already been a team for however fucking.
The
and it's-
problem
Well, no,
is-
even with like that, it's the Justice League versus Darkseid, or Darkseid, whatever. But with that, it was even like Batman was like, "Oh shit, you're Batman? We've only heard myths. Oh yeah, no, I'm here." And then all of a sudden, Superman. Oh shit, yeah, we heard about an alien person. Oh yeah, and what can you do? And it's they worked it so well that it smoothly just it streamlines the story so well. That's what they need to do. Like,
The
we already
problem
know
is-
who Batman is. We already know who Superman is.
The problem is, even just telling the origin story, which is what they keep on doing, they keep on just fucking up the character. Somehow they're telling the origin story, and they ruin the character. It isn't just like, oh, that could have been done better. No. They ruin the character because they don't understand what's important about the character. The one that is always the worst when it comes to it is always Superman. Because they don't understand what makes Superman Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Superman isn't Superman because Kal-El. That isn't why Superman's Superman. Superman's Superman because of Mom and Pa Kent.
Yes.
Superman's Superman because he's a farm boy.
He's a Boy
That's-
Scout.
Yeah, that's what makes Superman Superman. And they keep on fucking with that. And they'll assassinate Superman, and they'll assassinate Ma and Pa Kent. The worst examples are the Snyderverse Superman. When
Martha. Dumbest fucking words.
Well,
ever.
the one that was the assassination of Superman was, Clark, why did you save those children from drowning in that school bus? What the fuck do you mean, why did he save the children drowning in a school bus? You aren't Pa Kent. What fucking alien replaced Pa Kent?
It's like what they did, and I hate the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I especially hated No Way Home. They gave Uncle Ben's line to Aunt May when she killed him, and I fucking said no. That is Uncle Ben's line. There is something about a woman can never teach a man how to be a man, and that line is what is a lesson given to a older parental figure, a male parental figure, to a young man. And giving her that line pissed me off to no fucking end.
Because
Yeah,
the-
I understand what you're saying, too, but you need to understand, it's 2024.
No, there's literally something and I had to explain this to Angela. That there are some things a woman can never teach a man what to do, and like yes, a female could be a father figure, if you will, but she can't teach her son how to be a man. And when Uncle Ben gave him those lines, when he said, "With great power comes great responsibility," is a lesson that only a male can impart.
Well, the thing is,
have you
I
seen
would
the Acolyte?
slightly argue. I would say that there are ways that you could work it so that a woman could impart those sorts of messages, but you really have to put in the legwork for it.
And they didn't put in the legwork for that.
They
that's the
just
problem.
replaced one character with another.
Literally, they just replaced. Now, if Happy was to give him those lines, I would have accepted it
Because
better.
they built rapport. Yeah.
I
wouldn't have liked it, but it would have made more cinematic sense, storytelling sense, because they already had a rapport, and he's kind of filled in more of that
Uncle Ben role
than Tony did. Tony, he's always awkward with Tony, and he looks up to Tony, and he's such a simp for Tony. But Happy's the one who's there. Happy's the one who is guiding him through this.
Yeah, who's putting him?
Hold on. I think you both are missing the point, though. Aunt May was running this fundraiser or shelter bit. I don't know how she's running it. I don't know how she's funding it, but she's doing her thing, and with that,
Are you talking about in the game?
No, she's like helping like the people from. She had like this whole shelter thing going. It's how she ran across the fucking Norman.
Oh, I didn't talk about but again, that is.
But that's what I mean. That's how she has the ability to say, "Hey, Peter, I did this for these displaced New Yorkers and blipped people, and because I did this with great response." No, I'm with you guys, and this is fucking ridiculous.
Like I said,
It was a
there's
stupid thing.
There's ways that you could get that message from a female character and have it make absolute sense.
You could have, but they
didn't do the
wrote her
legwork
very
for it.
wrong.
And they tried to just shoehorn it in. Like, if it had been, let's say it's a character other than Spider-Man that we're talking about, and it's another new hero that is being made, and you have it be that new hero's mother was military.
Okay, that makes sense.
She had been active and reservist on and off throughout his entire life. She's tough as shit and still his confidant to a large degree.
Mm-hmm.
And make it be something that it pops up a couple times.
I got one better for you.
Even hit better.
Sanguine, I got the better scenario. All right, so he's we'll say this one is Peter Parker, and this hypothetical because it's just easy from my mind. All right, Peter Parker is talking about, asked her, has she killed anybody? And she goes, yes, I have. And he goes, why? Because with great power comes great responsibility. I have the responsibility of protecting my homeland. And I have the power to defend it. And I will defend it. And yes, I've done some horrible things in that path. It is some sins I will have to deal with.
See, the way that I was picturing it was, rather than that, having it be where the hero knows that the mother figure has had to fight, had to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees something that a normal person would get into a fight over. And she doesn't. She doesn't fight. She doesn't get angry. She doesn't start lashing out. She doesn't use what she knows in order to beat someone into submission. And it confuses the character. So he asks, why didn't you do anything? I know you can. Why didn't you do anything? And that's when it's that motherly figure goes, yeah, I could have done something. I could have hurt them. I could have done a hell of a lot of things to them. But with great power comes great responsibility. It wouldn't have been right. And that imparts the lesson that if you could completely destroy someone, then you have the responsibility to not just do that randomly, to not just do that in anger.
You have to keep your power in check.
Yep,
Yeah.
you have to keep your power in check. So you don't use it when... And if you want the full messaging, then you have it be something that it kind of hits at different points, where you have that element of the story, but then you have another element where they do go over the top. And rather than saying the full line again, or they don't go over the top, but they go all the way with a situation where they had to go all the way with a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And the asked again, why did you do that? And rather than doing the with great power comes great responsibility, it would just be a line of, you know what I said about power and responsibility? This is the other side of it. Boom. Now you have both sides. It's both you have to control yourself, and if no one else can do something that you can and it needs to be done, you fucking do it.
Maybe in this situation, she stops a robbery.
Yep.
You know, maybe she tackles a guy and she fucks him up good.
Yeah, she stops a robbery, or someone else gets attacked and she puts herself in danger to save the person that gets attacked. Or even better, we've already said she's military. She's in hospital after getting injured because she saved someone putting herself in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
And the main character's kind of pissed off because his mom's hurt. His mom's in the hospital. What the fuck? Why is she in the hospital? You know, the other part of power and or you know what I said about power and responsibility? This is the other side of it. And it's something that hits. It's something that, again, you can get that to work coming from a female figure in a character's life. But you have to give that female figure justification.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just have someone say the words and think that it lands. You have to have it be something that actually lands. It's kind of like how the lesson that Scout learns from Atticus, when Atticus kills the mad dog.
Mm-hmm.
That could have come from Atticus at any time, but it only landed because of when it was given.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been said by anyone else, but again, it only landed because of who it was said by and when it was said. You need to match the message to the situation. And you can do that with a bunch of things. And yeah, there's some messages that are easier to communicate man to man than they are a woman to boy or anything else. One of those is the thing that always pisses me off. The idea that men don't have emotions. Men don't cry at funerals. Men
Because
just
it's
don't
not that we
show
don't
anything.
cry. It's that we as children, we're taught that it's not productive and you have to keep moving forward.
Well, the
Shit
thing
doesn't-
is that
Yeah, like John McClane doesn't cry until the end of Die Hard when he gets reunited with his wife.
exactly, and that's the thing about it. Men, the original lesson was not men don't cry. The original lesson was there's certain things that you think about before you cry.
Yes, like
First off,
people still have your family still has to eat. Like, all right, so
is there something that needs to be done that could make things better? If so, do that now. Is there someone counting on you right now that they need your strength? If so, hold
do
strong.
That you don't have time to cry and you don't have time to bleed.
I don't have
You
time
got to
to
get
bleed.
a job done.
Are you someplace that it is safe for you to cry? If no, don't give them don't give them the satisfaction. Because normally if it's not safe for you to cry someplace, it's because someone wants you to cry. And if you give them what they want when it comes to that, they're going to do that more because you've now taught them that, hey, this works. This gets me the thing that I wanted to get.
Tiara, watch you
man.
cry.
So
Go to hell.
if someone's bullying you and it makes you want to cry, never cry in front of the person bullying you.
See, I'm just so sick of girl boss movies. Like, just stop. Ellen Ripley was not a... She was a
She
boss.
wasn't.
Yep.
She wasn't even a
She
girl
wasn't-
boss. She was a
She wasn't
female
a
figure.
physical, dominant... She wasn't imparting male life lessons. She was showing the strength of, like, that maternal instinct and...
Yes.
And, you know, using that kind of stuff. I'm so sick of it. And I actually liked Atlas. I thought it was a pretty decent, just modern action movie for what it's worth.
Mhm.
And the thing with J-Lo's character was she was a wreck. She was rife with flaws, and she wasn't a girl boss, but she now here is this kind of crossover where she does have to tap into a little bit of the male side and not cry and not get emotional and persevere because there's a fucking task at hand that needs to be done.
Yep.
And she's the only one left to do it.
Shit. I want to see a movie where, again,
wasn't perfect.
Males and females are symbiotic. Like we literally need each other. And this is what I said. Fucking Masters of the Universe should have been. It should have been Adam and Tila working together. You know, the sword of power gets divided, and they have to work together to overcome Evil Lyn and fucking Skeletor. It should have been that, and it should have been Skeletor and Evil Lyn are an example of a toxic relationship. They need each other, but they refuse to work together. And it should be Adam and Tila learning that they literally do need each other, and they should work together to achieve their goals. It shouldn't be.
That's all well and good, but I'm still sick of that. I'm so sick of like.
Well, it's not even a girl boss thing.
Movies that are the movies and roles in movies that are supposed to be men. Like, I want Conan. I don't need his
Red Sonja.
Red Sonja. Like, if I want Red Sonja, I'll go for Red Sonja. But if I want Conan and I want the stories that Conan brings, I want to watch Conan be Conan and be a man. I don't want him to be in touch with his feelings and working with his lady love.
Well, not even that. Like, again, show that we have different strengths. Like, remember Valaria and fucking Conan the Destroyer? Was it Conan? No, it's Conan the Barbarian. Like, she was powerful,
No,
but it was Destroyer?
Yeah, the second one.
No, it was the first one. Valaria was in the first one. It was him, Valaria, and Subadai. Then it had to be Barbarian. But they worked together. And she still, you know, in his time of need, she came to him like, hey, babe, I got you.
Yeah, I'm fine with the complimentary. I don't like well, they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
And there's lessons that come better from each. If you're going to have them come from the opposite, you need to do the work in order to have them actually land. And there's something that people keep on constantly misunderstanding that drives me up the wall, because it makes it easier for people to completely disregard what is being said. So many people are going, oh yeah, having a female lead makes a movie a bad movie. No, that's not what anyone of any sense is saying. what is often being said is that if a movie is making a big deal out of having a female lead, it's a bad movie.
It's going to be a bad movie.
Oh yeah, that and pay attention to how hard they push something on social media.
Oh yeah, they got
the
first
massive
bill X,
campaigns
Y, and
that
Z.
Game of Thrones is pumping out for House of the Dragon, and like the Acolyte. Like, I mean, it's a glaring red flag. They're unraveling banners. Which team are you? Team Green, Team Black. You never saw that with the original Game of Thrones. Yes, there were events and they did, but that's after it solidified itself as being a good property to watch, a good show.
This is,
you had the traveling exhibits that went all around North America, and like, here's some of the costumes, here's the throne, get your picture, take it on the throne, and it was cool. But like, for the first 3 seasons, like, you didn't see commercials everywhere for it on social media. You didn't see this. You saw people talking about it word of mouth, and it's the same. It's the same thing with like modern stuff. However, people are talking too much about things like The Acolyte and Game of Thrones, and that's pushing it further into the algorithms, and thus giving it that inflated sort of presence. When in reality, nobody likes this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, nobody likes that shit, and again, it's not, and they don't seem to understand why. They don't get why people don't like it. You're taking years of established lore and canon and information and literally pissing on it. The shit with Kiadi Mundi, the shit with the virgin birth. Like, you essentially took what made the main character of the fucking franchise, essentially, Anakin Skywalker, unique, and which made his entire bloodline unique, because he's a virgin birth, and his son is his son. So his father was a virgin birth, so he'd be special too. And they were the ones that were going to bring balance to the Force. Nope, it's not going to happen anymore because there was somebody else in the future, in the past that did it. You're not a special kid. What? Really?
Well, I guess you haven't seen the latest episode.
Nope, I haven't watched any of it.
Okay, so they take it. They at this point, it's like quadrupling down on the sheer retardedness of it all. So you know how the whole thing was that Anakin was this convergence of the Force?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, now the two little niglets are fucking convergences of the Force too.
Yep.
The fuck?
Like they literally said, yeah, Anakin, oh, he's not special. We've got 2 of them here.
Yep.
And
We have our own Anakin in the house. We have 2 of them. Really?
yeah, when you go to wish.com, you can buy 2 Anakins for the price of 1, but they're cheaply made in China.
And they're darker with less power and look stupid as hell.
They're black and female. Huh?
Again, you know what they could have done? This. Wait a minute, I got a perfect example. This is what they could have done. They could have said the witches are fucking lying. The witches, there was a father in there, but the witches killed them. It would have solidified, like, oh, they're telling everybody they're special. Or they could even have that the main witch herself is actually a male. Hell, there you go.
The part that drives me crazy about it is that they keep on trying to make it so that, oh, you should be trying to figure out which side's the good side. Were the witches right, or were the Jedis? Well, the witches were trying to kill everyone and torture people and
using dark magic.
We have a visitor. Are you
Say
gonna say
second.
hello?
Hello?
I have a
Okay,
visitor.
Shaw.
Are you gonna say hello? Hello, Nixie. She's like going right up to the microphone, but she refuses to speak.
Ah.
Okay, fine. Screw you. Go away.
But yeah, it's
Sorry.
infuriating because they don't want to justify anything in the writing, because there's a shit ton of stuff that if you come up with a good story and a good explanation of why something is the way that it is, I'm willing to let a lot go.
Shit, you know what they could have done, and this is what they should have done. They should have said it 1,000. If you were going to use Sith-like entities, you should have said it 1,000 years prior to the events. That way, it falls in line with canon. They haven't been seen for 1,000 years. Okay, all right, that makes sense. The storyline happens 1,000 years ago, you know, and you could have, you know, bad boy Sith, you know, pretending to be the good guy, or you can even have that the fucking. I'm not opposed to there being what's the word I'm looking for? Let's say Jedi who are capable of hiding the fact that they're evil. Mm-hmm. Even though there's telltale signs, some of them don't quite manifest yet. So I can see that. Like, hiding yourself inside the Force isn't a new ability. It's old as fuck. Like, that's what Revan could do. Revan could hide himself in the Force. You couldn't tell him. He was a fucking hole in existence. Was it Revan or was it the Exile? Sorry. The Exile was a hole in existence.
I think with something, if you want to
You're talking about the Survivor.
No, it was the Exile.
It was the Survivor of, what was the battle name again?
Malachor. It was the
Survivor of Malachor.
Yeah, the Exile. That's what the title was. They were literally a hole in the Force, and you couldn't tell which side they were on.
Yeah, because they were a void.
Yep, they were marked by Malachor. And shit, I would not have mind a fucking a retelling of the Knights of the Old Republic 2 games. You had Darth Nihilus, you had Atreya, you had fucking Atris, you had fucking Scion. You could have told a fucking amazing story with those characters.
Or you could have, this is a galaxy far, far away. You've already established the Force is a thing. Mm-hmm. What would happen if you went for a different galaxy where the Force is also a thing there, but the understanding of it was entirely different?
Shit, it already established that the fucking space whales and again, they should have played off Ahsoka. Maybe again 1,000 years, that parts unknown, and the other side of the galaxy where the fucking giant space whales went. Tell the story there.
Yep. Well, like I said, you go to an entirely different galaxy that still has the Force, but they have a different understanding. And
the threads, great. There you go.
You can see a different way that the Force is used, and you could justify a shit ton of stuff like that. I think EFAP was one of the ones that was talking about this at one point, where they said, if you did that, you could even justify cold lightsabers.
Yeah.
Because rather than developing lightsabers as we know them, they instead developed a version of it that was like a super cooled thing. So rather than burning, it would freeze something instantly, and then you would shatter it.
Or you could have justified them using metal weapons that could block, that could fucking that they didn't have. Like, they used swords. They legitimately used bladed weapons.
Yep.
Because they don't have the same technology or access to kyber crystals. So they don't use that shit. But they still use the Force. And you can have a Jedi-like organization that aren't Jedi, who are more like, we'll say, the Brotherhood of Steel from fucking Fallout, who are militaristic and like, okay, you have magic, you can use this magic power, you have to come with us. And no ifs, ands, or buts. And have them that they are the evil ones. And you could have that the witches are escaping persecution.
Yep, you just have to have the witches not be pure fucking evil.
Yeah.
Which, that's always a problem. They have a tendency of, when they're trying to write characters that are supposed to make you go, well, which one's the evil one? I'm pretty sure the one sacrificing people is the...
Or turn into smoke monsters. But even then, there were some light side users who used dark side powers in Legends.
Yeah, there were. But they were still more light side than dark. Because, it kind of fucks you up when you use Force Lightning. It is a dark side power. But if you have a good character that occasionally will use Force Lightning, then they aren't evil. They're just using something that could be evil. Whereas if you have a character that is just like going to the maternity ward to see the children and Force Lightning them, you aren't going to go, well, gee, he might be the good guy.
Shit, technically Shatterpoint was a dark side power that Luke frequently used.
Yep.
See, I think you're entirely off course.
Sorry.
For something like the High Republic, you want to do Andor. You want political espionage, thriller,
Shit, you don't even have to
investigation.
use the Force and the Jedi in a Star Wars tale. Like you said, you could do political stuff. There are a shit ton of governments that you could always explore, like the Trade Federation.
And if
You could
want
do the Trade
to-
Federation.
If you want to do what you guys were talking about, you simply just do the Yuzan Vong. Yuzan Vong were
Yeah.
just it is a different understanding of the Force, but it's the for those who don't know, it's the fact that these people, this new race, it came from another galaxy. They're voids in the Force because somewhere along their history they as a race were disconnected from the Force.
Yep.
And it's both a blessing and a curse because it turns them basically into warmongering monsters because they don't have a connection to life. But it also gives them an advantage when they invade the Star Wars galaxy because Jedi can't sense them. So their advantage is now taken down a notch. No matter, even some of the most powerful Jedi had hard times going toe-to-toe with just baseline Yuzan Vong warriors.
Shit, you can always use the fucking Hutts. The Hutts are technically immune to certain powers of the Jedi. Like, you can't mind trick a Hutt.
Mind tricks.
You can't, like, most mental abilities of the Jedi are fucking useless against the Hutt.
But I'm just like,
and I want to see a Hutt Jedi.
You're falling into the same trap that the showrunners are of these various things. Is that you want to revisit stuff that we've already seen? I don't fucking care about the Hutts, dude. Like,
I love the Hutts.
There's no point in reintroducing them in Boba Fett and Mandalorian and this and that. Like, it's
What I would love,
Rebels. Like, I don't like it. It's enough. You need new stuff because everything that has been done already is just being rehashed constantly.
True.
And that is why a lot of people are having such a hard time with this. Is we've seen the big epic space opera. We've seen what happens when the Jedi and the Sith clash, both in the Clone War era and in the Fall of the Empire era. So give us something a little bit new. Like I said, if you did political intrigue and espionage and stuff, like where the Jedi were acting as fucking military, but we're acting as agents of the Republic to keep the peace, but they're not doing it through force of strength. They're doing it at manipulating and trying to investigate and pull apart schemes behind the scenes from. You could
Jedi detectives.
Involve one of the Hutts or whatever, but exactly, a little bit of film noir, a little bit of political intrigue, a little bit of espionage.
If you want something that's even more different, go for the Sky Wardens or the Grey Knights.
Shit, I wouldn't mind
Because the Sky Wardens had an entirely different conception of how the Force should be used, as did the Grey Knights. The Sky Wardens were the ones that didn't use lightsabers or anything like that. They just did Force-augmented martial arts. And they were, in the sector that they were in, a police authority. So you could have a noir with some force powers still being used, centered around a Sky Warden.
See, and right now you're on the right track.
Shit, again, I
Because
would
it's
love to
different,
see
but
it.
it's in the universe.
And
Or
it touches
here you
enough
go.
of the familiar.
Here you go. Why not have that? All right, the Jedi and the Sky Wardens are investigating something, and they realize it's better to work together than apart. You have a Jedi and a Sky Warden team up, and it's them going. And you can even have it serialized, where it's each episode is part of this overarching tale, where it's not episodic, where you don't have any of this. It's just one big ass story being told, and it's them working together. What they're both using their abilities to try to get information. So you can have that, the Jedi is using his lightsaber and what he knows, and still have like the Sky Warden is punching motherfuckers.
I mean,
That way it
if
gives you
want-
a bit of new and a bit of familiar.
If you want to, so first of all, like the Zon trilogy should have been the sequel trilogy. No
It really
ifs,
should.
ands, or buts. And then what you needed was that bridge of, like the not Jedi Adventures, Jedi Academy, I think. So
Yeah,
it's
Jedi Academy.
Luke rebuilding, and it's an exploration as well as intelligence gathering kind of thing. So he's constantly running missions for the New Republic, who's trying to rebuild new relations, but he's also trying to find new students to restart the Jedi Order, and blah 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 blah. And eventually, either that's one show or it's the first season or two of the grander show, and this is where you get into making a grand epic again, both in the Star Wars space opera tradition, as well as replicating what Game of Thrones did. You expand it. Every season expands, right? But after season 2, you would expand it to being the invasion of the Yuuzhan Vong. So the entire
I got a question for you,
It
Sanguine.
goes right
Sorry.
into hold on. It goes right into everybody rebuilding and all this, and then you're taken right into the storyline of the White Walkers and dragons and stuff like Game of Thrones did. What's the question?
All right, Sanguine, I got a question. All right, Luke's treatment of R2-D2, was he a tool or a pet? Sanguine?
Was he a tool or a pet
Mm-hmm.
for R2D2?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
R-Tool?
yes, R2.
R-Tool.
For R2D2, I would say it was kind of in between. It was kind of like a service dog.
So he was a pet.
Like I said, it was kind of in between because it was a pet with uses.
Functional?
What?
Same question. R2-D2,
Oh,
tool
it's
or pet?
Cool.
I say he was
Droid.
more of a pet.
I know you do, and you're wrong.
He was more pet than tool. I will agree with Sanguine. He was more like a service dog. He had his uses, but he was treated like a pet. He was a constant companion, and Luke took him everywhere. Like his lightsaber, like, here, hold this shit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say it was like a service dog relationship where R2D2 had definite utility.
Mm-hmm.
And he was cared about, but it wasn't. So he was cared about, which goes away from Tool, because Tool would be just.
I use you when I need you.
Yeah. Whereas there was some sort of, no, I like this thing. It amuses me. I like it.
But he had
It's cute.
a better he had a greater attachment to R2 over 3PO.
Say again?
Because he had a greater attachment to R2 than 3PO, not because he saw him as a pet though. It's because he had attachment because he was his father's droid.
He didn't know that.
R2.
There was no way. There was no way he could have known that. No way Luke could have known that.
Yes,
And both of them were his father's droid.
but he didn't
Well,
know.
technically, 3PO was his
3PO.
mother's droid.
And 3PO has been mind wiped so many times. But even and his his connection to R2's connection to Leia and Ben Kenobi. So there were multiple layers of connection that he, in a certain way, had this surrogate in this droid. Whereas C-3PO, they don't know anything other than he was on Tantive 4.
Well, the thing is that unless you're saying that R2 communicated that there was this greater connection.
No,
And
he
it-
didn't. He didn't communicate it. I'm just saying Luke. That's why I think Luke had a greater relationship with R2. Plus, I mean, those are just
because
like,
I'm saying that
but like
there,
he also used him more. Like he was his personal astromech who helped him fly his own X-wing. And
that
all
I
this other
think is a
stuff.
more valid argument. But
But
what I
even
was-
then, it's still a service animal. Like again, he had his uses, but he carried. Like again, he went everywhere with him. He didn't just leave him at his fucking. All right, I'm done with my spanner. I'm gonna leave my spanner until I need my spanner. He took him everywhere. Like if you saw Luke, you saw R2.
if your wrench breaks, you aren't gonna cry. unless
Yeah, you're just gonna get a new fucking wrench.
frustrated with whatever the fuck broke your wrench. But
Like I got one better for you. I got one better for you. When they had it, when they were escaping Jabba's palace, they went and got R2. R2 was brighter than the sand. If he was just a tool, he would have left him there. Like I can always get another astromech, but I want this one. It is special to me. It is a pet. Like you don't leave your dog. You don't leave your dog behind if you're gonna fucking escape a planet. You take your dog with you unless you don't really care about your fucking dog. Like they went and got him.
if there was an argument that for why R2 was more cared about than C-3PO, I think that the two best arguments are, well, he was with R2 more because R2 was his astromech. And the other one is, well, R2 didn't speak in the same way. So there's something about it not speaking in Galactic Basic that makes it more of a, oh, look at the little thing beep and boop. But
Even then,
if you're arguing that, well, he was able to recognize the history, I would say that if it's recognizing the history, then it should be C-3PO over R2, because C-3PO was made by his father, then gifted by his father to his mother, who then gifted, or after she died, it was then gifted to his sister before coming to him.
But C-3PO doesn't even know that
So again,
how would R2 know that?
because R2 wasn't mind wiped.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
He had to be.
No, he wasn't. The restraining bolt caused a short circuit, but C-3PO was freshly mind wiped as in the introduction of Episode 4. He was mind wiped at the end of Episode.
Yeah, to keep what he knew out of people's mind. But there was no way R2 could communicate that he was his father's droid. And if anybody would look into his registry, they would just see, oh, it's just another astromech unit. It's nothing special.
Because Leia and Ben told him.
They never said this was your father's droid.
Literally says.
That,
oh
no.
my god.
When? Evidence.
Episode 4.
Evidence.
Oh, I don't remember owning an astromech droid. Well, the message says it belongs to you, and then later, like,
It just said the message is for you. It doesn't. It never says that this was your droid. It just said that she gave it a message. Like that's all it said. Like you.
He says he belongs to Ben Kenobi, a resident of these parts.
No, he had the
Well, I
message
don't know
for
a
Ben
Ben
Kenobi.
Kenobi, but
No,
I know,
he had the
I do-
message for
or I
Obi-Wan
don't know an
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I do know an old Ben who lives out beyond the Dune Sea.
Again, it was just he had a message for Obi-Wan. Not it belongs to Obi-Wan.
Literally
I
says
just have a
he
message.
Literally says he belongs to an Obi-Wan.
I'm going to look it up. Obi-Wan. Because he
And
never said anything. And he
belongs
goes,
to Leia for a period of time because she's the one who even recorded the message on R2. And
Yes, but-
intentionally didn't mind wipe him so he could pass on the stuff to the Rebel Alliance.
Again, he would have known that. Again, he didn't know that Leia was his sister until like episode fucking 3.
What is it?
And he had already built the attachment to. He had already built the attachment before episode 3.
Wait, hold on. So, if R2 did know or did remember everything, then he would have known that Luke and Leia were siblings. So
No.
R2 just a
No.
little freak
No.
watching them kiss.
R2 did not know that.
He should have,
Why?
because he
He
was
wasn't
there.
there when they were born. He didn't go with Obi-Wan when he went to Mustafar.
He would have known that Padme was pregnant. He would have known that. He would also known what she named him. And she would go, hey.
No.
He would have known
He
Anakin's
wasn't there.
original.
He wasn't there.
He would have known Anakin's original name.
And then he got passed from Obi-Wan took possession of R2 after.
No, he didn't. How could he? How did Leia get Obi-Wan if Obi-Wan took possession of R2? It'd be impossible for him to get back to Leia.
Clearly, you haven't
Obi-Wan.
watched the Disney series.
I don't count that. That's not fucking canon.
Obi-Wan, air quotes, kills Anakin and saves Padme. Back wherever they go, because I don't think they went back. Well, no, he did go back to Coruscant. Whatever, it's not important. And he takes
God damn it.
possession of R2 and gives it to Bail Organa. And Bail Organa takes R2 and Leia and raises Leia. And
so you're telling me that he wouldn't have. You're telling
Leia,
me that Bail Organa wouldn't have.
Then later uses R2 to deliver the message to the Rebel Alliance, which then gets intercepted by Luke, who helps him find Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan with his whole spiel about, a man named Darth Vader betrayed and murdered your father. Like, lied to him the entire fucking time. Oh, I don't remember owning a droid.
I got one for you. All right. This is my argument. You're telling me that Bail Organa would have never wiped his memory because he knows far too much, and that information that he knows could fall into the wrong hands. You're telling me that he didn't do that? Like, he wouldn't have assumed that. Now, mind you, Bail Organa is an intelligent man. You're telling me that he would have never done that? Because he did that shit with 3PO. So if he's going to do that to 3PO, he's going to do that to fucking R2.
And again, I just want to point out that if R2 does know everything, his mind was never wiped, then R2 should have known who Luke is.
No.
At least have been able to figure out who Luke was, which means that he watched Luke kiss his own sister and didn't go.
No, he didn't. He wasn't even in the room.
Oh, geez.
He didn't. The only thing that I will give you is that he probably knew
what I will give you,
because he was in the room when it happened, when he learned that Padme was pregnant. That was it. He doesn't know that Darth Vader is Anakin. He doesn't know Luke and Leia are sister. He doesn't even know their names, other than when he's in the possession of Bail Organa. Obviously, he's there. He's servicing the family, the royal family, while Leia's growing up. So there's something there. But I mean, outside of that, there is no other connections.
Except the same. Luke is still called Skywalker, just like his father. His father's, or his aunt and uncle are raising. Aunt and uncles that R2 probably would have known of. He would have found Leia.
What?
Didn't hear you saying where you were kind of away from the mic when you said that.
Which part did you not hear?
Most
None
of
of
it.
So, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker. He would have known surnames and would have gone, those are the same surnames. He would have known.
If that happened, so what?
He would have known Anakin's or he would have known
Brothers.
Luke's aunt and uncle.
Yep.
They were known relations. So that would have
No,
been
he
another
wouldn't.
tip.
He doesn't know who those people are.
He did because he went with him. He went with him when he went to attack the Sand People. He would have known.
No, he didn't. He was at the ship the entire time that happened.
So you're telling me that Anakin
Yes.
would never have held the conversation with
And
Padme
even-
about my brother and sister?
Even I'm hypothetical. Even if he did, so what?
I'm
He's
just
a
saying,
droid.
you know,
He's not going to turn around and be like, "Oh, well, that's your father. That's your sister." Like,
again,
he's a droid. He's
I
not
say
gonna do
that he knows too. It'd be irresponsible to have a droid with that much information get into the wrong hands. So they would have mind wiped him.
What information?
Anything. He was with the royal family, so he'd have known shit. He'd have overheard conversations. He'd have overheard,
The only thing he would have known was that at one point, Anakin and Padme.
I'm talking about with Bail Organa. If he was with Bail Organa, at some point he would have overheard shit that he wasn't supposed to hear.
Says who?
It's just what it is. Like
No,
again,
it's not. Now you're just drawing complete speculation out of things.
that's not speculation.
Yeah.
Like again,
No, it is.
You're telling me that he would have never overheard something
No, I'm
he's
telling
not
you,
supposed to
I
know.
don't know, but I'm telling you that wild speculation.
It's a good probability that he would have heard something he shouldn't have, and they'd have mind wiped him.
It's a good probability after all the examples I've just shown you of him not being privy to the information that you previously brought up that he would be privy to. He doesn't have that information.
Well, hey, let me interject here, because, good God, it's been
Love you, functional.
I don't know,
You can't
Sanguine,
test
how you
me on
wanna
Star Wars, dude.
It
work
is getting
this,
late,
or,
isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
I am
I got work.
retarded when it comes to Star Wars knowledge. I'm both proud and ashamed of it because I love Star Wars. So I love real Star Wars so much, but I'm ashamed because it's like, what other information could my brain possess if I didn't know all this fucking useless Star Wars shit?
If I didn't know all this useless Star
you guys
Wars
have been
shit,
going for what, like almost 3 hours now? Holy shit!
if I didn't know all this useless Star Wars shit, I could solve cold fusion.
Honestly, make me dictator of Lucasfilm. I will revitalize that entire fucking franchise overnight. But of course they won't because
You have dangly bits.
colored only, no whites allowed, and I'm not even white. So I'm half white.
You're off white.
But I'm not the good other half. You know, I'm sand nigger.
well,
oh shit. I feel
See,
offended.
now if I was half black, then Disney would be like,
No, Disney
sir,
would be
can
like,
we have
which
can we have
parent?
a moment of your time?
Yeah, one drop rule. Your mother? Okay, you good. Come on in.
yeah, it would become which parent? But it is
Yeah.
getting late. Shall we go around for parting words?
Sure.
Who wants to
Sure.
go first?
Great parting word.
If you're passionate about Sanguine, let him do you. Don't you do him.
Sound
If you
advice because I'm not on the receiving end.
If you're passionate about saying we devour him, don't let him devour you.
Adam?
I hope you have a good night. And I like the Streets of Rage background going on right now. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not a problem at all. And I'll leave off with. Let's see, what would be a good one?
You're not gonna say it right? Well,
Nah, because
here both fucked it up.
you both fucked it up, but you both fucked it up knowingly, which
Oh,
takes the
dear.
fun out of correcting.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Aw.
So instead, I'll go with be gentle with yourself when you fail. Don't excuse mediocrity or tolerate stagnation, but neither should you confuse a failure with being a failure. Learn from your blunder and grow. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Night.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, everybody.
And now I click this, and it takes a couple